Hi, thanks for joining us. On today's show, we've got Juliette Denny, who is a Harvard postgrad and building a learning AI partner. You'll hear more about that. And she comes to us from Andorra, nestled somewhere between Spain and France. Here's my conversation with Juliette. Juliette, hi, thanks for joining us here today. Happy to have you on the show from Andorra, right?
Yeah, absolutely. The Mountain Kingdom, beautiful. We got sun, we got mountains. What more do you want?
That's all I can ask for. Now, what brought you there originally?
Lifestyle, really. I mean, we're a bit dog-tastic, so we've got dogs and we love hiking and love being part of the outside. So I mean, this place is just stunning. I mean, I can't show you what I'm looking at, but it's just literally mountains, and yeah, it's just a piece of paradise, really. So
coming to us from the mountains and in paradise, that's a good place, obviously, to start from as we begin today's conversation. And obviously, you're working on a number of different things. What's occupying your days? Well, your most recent days, you've launched Iridescent, obviously, and you're working on a few exciting projects.
Yeah, so we're really just trying to, just revolutionize the way we learn. So, just a little thing that we've decided that
just a little thing, right?
Just a little thing. So I've been in the learning technology space for the last sort of, 25 years. And what we're really interested in is trying to get people really curious about their personal development. So that's what we were kind of doing with growth engineering, trying to gamify learning, trying to make it super social. But we kind of realized there's only so much that you can do without, AI. And so when AI came along, I was like, right, we're going to really do what we've always wanted to do with the learning experience, make it completely, personal, make it all about the individual, and really make it very conversational. So, going back to, the way Plato taught us about, how we, create curiosity and create, lifelong learners, it really is about having that discussion and being able to kind of situate the learning conversation away from kind of one to many and more like, how do you learn? What do you want to learn? What's going to make you curious? Right, let's deliver you that.
And so that's fascinating. You're saying the AI is what's empowering that or allowing it to be personalized?
Totally, that's what we're doing. So we're coding up different AI agents to ensure that however you learn and whatever you need to be curious, the AI will be able to deliver. So let me give you an example of that. I'm dyslexic. Okay, so when I was going through the school system, quite frankly, I was a nightmare. I didn't really learn anything. I got chucked out of school, not because I'm not smart, I'm badass smart, right? But I just can't remember anything. I have a very bad short-term memory. And, when I look at words that are longer than sort of 2 letters, they just swim on the page. I mean, and I can't write, it's embarrassing. I mean, even now, I get my W's and all sorts of things mixed up. I just, but I'm smart, I'm badass smart. I ended up getting my master's from Harvard. But when I was having my formative years, I could have that learning delivered in a way that is perfect for dyslexics. So I'm talking about things like double spacing. I'm talking about keywords being bolded. I'm talking about constant repetition. I'm talking because some dyslexics like myself have very bad short-term memories. I need a lot of reinforcement. I need a lot of repetition. This is the way. And I can move through content and learn through new things really quickly if I'm being delivered that learning in a way that really suits my neurodiversity needs. And so that is really the hub of what we're trying to do. And we're trying to make everything conversational, because we know in terms of learning pedagogy, delivering information, you just forget. I mean, that because, we watch Netflix and then, what did you watch on TV last night? And that's not the wine talking, that is literally the way our brains work. So what we need to do is we need to move that learning conversation further up Bloom's taxonomy so that we're into evaluation, into discussion, into using that knowledge. And so this is all the fascinating, wonderful things we can do with the AI. And this is what we're working on in Iridescent Technologies.
I mean, so many directions to go with what you just described there. First of all, brilliant and so needed. And it's the power of the technology that's allowing us to do these things now, right? So first place I want to go, or when you say you're writing this, you're like, what? Like, I mean, it sounds like such a daunting task. So what are you actually building? How specifically is that actually occurring? Because it's a lofty goal, right? So for each one of these, it's obviously there's a strategy to bring it to fruition.
Yeah, so lofty, but you know, it's that, as you say, it is kind of 1% inspiration, 99% perspiration. But I truly do believe you've got to have the inspiration. Okay. So we've got what we call the 4D process. So the 4D process is discovery. So we want the AI to talk to you and discover your future career path, right? So it is a conversation you have with the AI where the AI says, where are you now? What are you doing? Where do you want to go? So we are going on a voyage of discovery. We're then going to discuss, so the AI is going to go away, put together a development plan, and that development plan could be 4 years. If you're, you know, currently a nurse and you want to become a doctor, or you're currently in, I don't know, in a call center and you want to, you know, be an engineer or whatever, or it could be much shorter. It could be, you know, I'm currently a supervisor. There's an opportunity for me to, you know, become a manager. I'm going to go, you know, a year's worth of management training in order to, so whatever it is, we're going to discuss it. So we've done discovery. The AI will then sit down and discuss with you what that training program looks like. You will commit to that training program and that will go into your diary. So the second stage is discuss and diarization. Then it would be, you know, delivered out to you in line with your neurodiversity needs, in line with the type of learning assets you want. And then the most important stage, arguably, is putting that learning into action. So then it's the demonstration stage, where basically the AI will be creating scenarios for you to understand, you know, the impact of your new knowledge. So that is kind of like the learning pedagogy that we're working towards. So that is the kind of theory. And then what we've got multiple different AI agents that are looking at the quality of the content. So they're looking at, you know, national skills frameworks. They're looking at national qualifications frameworks, to ensure that any of the content that is going to be delivered is in line with available credits. So we don't want anybody putting in a lot of time, effort, and energy in their personal development without knowing that they could effectively get a qualification from it. So that's what is happening in the background. You've got numerous AI agents all doing different things to ensure that, you know, you can really commit to your own personal development.
So how does somebody, I guess, like, we're talking about putting a lot of power in the hands of, I guess, what's been generated by the AI, right? Is it a challenge, or do you think that people will have trouble trusting that the AI is choosing that path for them, you know,
well,
from the best place?
The thing is with the AI doesn't do anything that's not already in the public domain. Okay, so the AI doesn't, all the AI says is, Julia, I hear that you're interested in AI. Okay, how interested are you in it? I'm like, very interested. Are you interested in the technical side? Are you interested on the, you know, conceptual side? And it's going to have conversations with you about, with me, about what I want, where I'm interested in the AI ecosystem. It's then going to say, okay, Julia, I've got a really clear idea that you're interested in, you know, the future of AI and conceptually how you would go about building an AI platform. What I'm then going to do is I'm going to look at existing skills frameworks, national skills frameworks, and also recognize courses that will be on, you know, frameworks, national frameworks. I'm going to go to those frameworks because I know that there's a quality standard there. I'm going to look at the learning objectives and the learning outcomes, and I'm going to pull together a course based on your needs. So the AI is not doing anything that is it's not being creative, if you like. The only thing it's doing is it's allowing you to not worry about anything else other than what you want to do. Does that make sense?
It's generative AI is what you're saying. So it's and where's the data sets coming from? Where are the data sets that you're employing?
So we're using, so for the launch, which is going to be in July, we are using Ofqual, which is the qualifications, you know, organization, national organization in the UK, and also the British standards. So British standards is to do with you know, basically how you passport from one role to another. So this is it, you know, in the UK, as in the US and as across Europe, they have a skills development framework, which goes all the way up from when you're about 14, 15, just entering into the workforce, all the way up through to doctoral standard. And so they've mapped all the vocational, professions to this framework. And so what we're doing is we're going to that framework saying, is it in existence? Okay, do you get credits for it? And if so, fine, we know what good looks like. And so we can deliver that content in line with those standards. So this is all kind of, you know, in the open, in the open domain. The problem is that we just haven't had the compute available to be able to take those brilliant frameworks and those ways of passporting.
Julia, I mean, as we're having this discussion, we were talking about, you know, we now finally have the compute available to process, right? To allow the AI to process the level of, I guess, information that's available. How are you meeting that challenge, or where is the compute coming from as you're building your company?
Yeah, so I mean, we're hosting with, well, we're hosting with Google and we're hosting with AWS, depending on. So we've got a sort of a business consumer offer that we're going to be sort of pushing out via e-commerce for individuals, and we're also launching with some, you know, large corporates, and I can't say who they are now, but obviously when we launch, I will be able to say who they are. And so, you know, depending on often the large corporates want to bring in their own library, and so, you know, we've got, you know, options to basically host on either, Google, the Google Cloud, or AWS, and that kind of expands according to usage. So, you know, one of the things, so with growth engineering, you know, we would almost kind of like bill clients on kind of monthly fees, but moving forward with this kind of model, it's very much going to be based on what's happening on the server. So, you know, if you do have learners that are committed to using CoOS AI, because that's what the kind of learning companion is called, on a daily basis, and they want to be interacting with it, you know, for 3 hours a day, then obviously they're going to be paying more for that compute.
Yeah, fair enough. Makes complete sense. Now, as you, I guess, start to reveal, I guess, what you can at this point, driving towards a July launch, right? I think is where things are. What do things look like from July? Or I guess, yeah, as the lead up to, and then what can we expect to see in July?
Well, in July, you should be able to go in and you should be able to play with CoOS. So you should be able to go through the 4D process. You should be able to, create your own, plan with regards to, what your future looks like. You should be able to diarize, and then you should be able to engage in these learning conversations. I mean, what we're really hoping is, with the engagement in learning conversations, that we can stop this one-to-many thing. So even if I'm learning about what conceptually AI is all about and how I can use that new knowledge to come up with ideas for businesses, right? You might be looking at, AI from exactly the same framework. You might want to, but because our, the way we learn is different, you could be presented with a different learning experience than me. And that's the nub of what we're trying to do. So, we believe that there is a lot of information out there, right? YouTube's full of it, Udemy, the list goes on and on and on. There's a lot of content. But content doesn't deliver better learning outcomes. So what we're concerned with is how you as a learner get the best learning experience possible, so that you keep coming back to CoOS to learn new things. Because, really, if you think about, what we can all achieve is predicated on how brilliant our brains are. So, we want this learning experience to be literally brain food for your curiosity. So that's what you should be able to experience. You should go to bed at night going, God, I can't wait for my next learning conversation. That's
great. That's a great way to be. And so we were saying July, where would people find that if they're interested in going through to it?
So yeah, if you just go to Iridescent.technology, that's the website. You can sign up to meet CoOS at the end of July. So we're going to be sending out updates, letting you know how we're doing, and all of this kind of good stuff during the journey. But yeah, we need a set of beta testers. And, the more the merrier, really. And also, the more obscure that your learning, interests are, that's also interesting because we don't have a library of content. The content is being made up in and around the learner. It's completely personalized to the learner. The reality is that you should be able to learn everything from how to be an expert fisherman to, how to be great at paddle. My partner's doing that, all the way through to, how, AI can transform the learning landscape, which is what I'm into. So whatever you're into, we should be able to deliver it through the COAS platform.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, look forward to seeing that continue, and as we talk in July, seeing it actually go live. When we discuss that range of things, I've got a project, or a friend that's working on a project right now, and it'd be interested to hear if you're, if there is any solution for it. I'll be more specific here. Juliette, I've got a friend that has a son that is incommunicative. He is autistic, and he's been unable to really communicate with his mother, for years, and they're just getting to the spot now where they can actually communicate with each other. I guess maybe at 18 was when they first were able to begin doing this, and they're now actually in a shape or form where they're actually communicating with one another. And so we're exploring the power of AI to facilitate that type of exercise as well. Is there anything that you're building that would be something that could actually be employed towards that goal as well?
So I am by no means saying that we are there now, okay? But that is certainly something that we want to do. So we believe that the secret, or the kind of problem that we're solving, is not content, is not qualifications, it is this idea that we should be able to make learning accessible. So as we move through this project, so for example, when you look at how we're delivering content out to dyslexics, it's a pretty blunt instrument at the moment. But the more people that we can get onto the platform, and the more feedback we can get with regards to how we're delivering out that content to those with ADHD, autism, the more we are going to be able to tweak and improve, the learning delivery. But we are in the early stages. Like I wouldn't want to say that we could, solve really complex cases, but do we understand that we have to? That's what humans should be doing, right? We should be solving, complex cases, and that's certainly what we want to do. But even if we can move it slightly, even if we can not take the cases that are really difficult and really challenging and that individual humans have struggled with, but even if we can give AI some of those problems. So for example, if you're learning literacy, or you're learning whatever it might be, there are lots of little changes that you can make very, very quickly in an individualized way through the power of AI that is very difficult for a teacher who's got 60 people in their class. That's just not, it's just not possible for them to do. In the same way as it's not possible for standard e-learning to be able to, move and shape the way it delivers the, instructional process. It is a one-to-many, you build it once and you shoot it out to many people. So yeah, I'm not sure if that.
No, it does. It does. And it's interesting. And, circling back to what you just said, is we have to understand we are early, right? This is all in its infancy. And Juliette, with that vantage, or from that vantage point, what do things look like in, let's say, 2 years from now?
You know what? I would love, I think one thing it is very, very clear to me from working in learning and development and education and sort of the technology that underpins that in the corporate setting is that change happens at the rate of the slowest human. Okay, so I think we can have the best AI in the world, and we do, arguably we do. I mean, we have literally got some really clever AI running around the place, and entrepreneurs like me are picking it up and trying to do interesting things with it, but it's useless unless individuals actually decide they want to interact with it. So I would say that, coming back to the whole hype cycle thing, there is a lot of hype, but until individual people actually find it useful in their normal, in their days, it's not going to take over the world. And I'm not saying that as a bar humbug kind of like, oh, it's the reality. Most people still use Google for search. They don't use AI. So we might be in this world where everybody's talking about AI, but a lot of people don't want to use it, and they're not using it. So I think, I think, yes, I can understand why everybody's like, it's going to be a dramatically changed future, but the normal guy or the girl in the street, they've got to be convinced to change what they're doing. And my question would be, are we introducing AI into people's lives in a way that they actually want to use it? Because there are a lot of people that I speak to when I have conversations about, we're, you know, an AI first company, we're trying to deliver something new, you know, they immediately turn around to, well, you know, AI is scary, you know, it could kill us, it could basically drive us all out of jobs, it could. So there's a big change management process here. And, you know, from my point of view, you know, I think the best way to look at, you know, the emergence of AI is AI will be, you know, become part of our daily lives as long as it's useful to us. But, you know, I don't think you're ever going to get a situation where we're forced to use AI and the world is taken over by AI, even though we don't want to use it, would be my learned experience from change management. You know, people move at the change they feel comfortable with, not just because technologists and your boss say you've got to do this.
Yeah, and I think what you're talking of is when, you know, we get to that critical mass, right? And I think for a lot of these people that you're describing, they may not even be aware to the extent to which they're already using AI, and to which it already is part of the daily society. And I think the pace at which that change is occurring continues to escalate. And so I always ask the question from 2 years, because I think it really isn't within that time frame where we'll achieve that critical mass. And so then it becomes a question of, for the daily user, is there something, what's the friction? What are the friction points? What is it that's required to, as opposed to doing a Google search, right, to be using their GPT. And I don't think it's that far away, to the point where we are all using it that way. And, you know, a lot of people such as yourself are building some of the solutions to that problem, to onboard or have people using it, to the spot where it's ubiquitous, right? And I don't think we're too far away from that. I always ask the question for the people developing it, where they see that in the spectrum, because I don't think we're too far away from here.
One of the things that I would say I find quite interesting is most people use their mobile phones far more than they use their PCs. Yes. So we still haven't got a decent AI solution on a mobile phone yet. You know, that is still some way off. So, you know, you can't have really powerful, you know, GPT, you know, on your phone. And you know, I would argue whether something like what we're doing, you certainly wouldn't be able to do the first two, so the discovery and the, you know, discussion, because there's just, you know, too much going on. You might be able to do some elements of the delivery on your mobile phone, but I think that's going to be a critical point. You know, once we get really good AI solutions on your mobile phone, that will open up a whole other, you know, spectrum of people utilizing AI. But I think, you know, your point is really interesting on, you know, we all use AI in our daily world. It's just we don't know that we're using it. So, you know, a lot of the enterprise platforms we use, you know, a lot of the time we're interfacing with social media, for example, there will be components of AI that are running through that platform that you don't know that you're utilizing.
Yeah, that's certainly the case. And then a lot of the questions are, a lot of the thinking for some of the people I'm talking with right now, they're doing is to discuss what is, I guess, well, going back to what I think, even as you said, like people are scared of it almost, you know, so what are the guardrails, or what guardrails can there be so that we can trust what is being generated? Do you have any sense of that? Do you have any ideas for yourself as you're building it? What I guess the guardrails are at this point?
So, you know, for me, I think that it's you know, kind of one of two things. First of all, I think that you as an individual need to choose how you interact with these AI companions. So that's the way I view it. Okay, you're going to have different AI companions for different facets of your life. Okay, you might have a master AI, and then you might have a number of mini AIs, but the AI is basically going to be a reflection of how you interact with it. So the way I view, you know, what the future will be like with our AI companions is very much, you know, you will, you know, by interacting with the AI and by telling the AI what kind of experience you want to experience with that AI will take on the personality that you want it to take on. So that could be anything from a, you know, executive assistant all the way through to, you know, just a search engine. So I believe that the guardrails should be very, very clearly with the individual that is utilizing the AI. And I believe that you can have a very kind of linear, non-invasive relationship with AI, if that's the way you choose to have your relationship with AI. So I think there's going to be a lot of sort of upskilling for people to understand what information they give and what information they don't want to give. But the quid pro quo to that is obviously the more information you give it, the more useful it's going to be. So for somebody like me, I think I would be willing to share a lot of my life, my interests, my passions, my, career objectives, my soul with a digital AI in order to get an overall better experience of life. But I do think the guardrails should be with the individual. I think there's a separate question with, where all that data goes. And I personally believe that I would like the data to be held on my own server. So what I'd like to use, AI and these large language models to create my own personal assistant. And then I would like the data to be housed in the cloud, but it is locked for Juliette's eyes only, is the way I would like that to be. So that doesn't mean to say that I can't take advantage of the large language models and the ability for AI to be incredibly useful, but I don't want my data to be, used by anybody else other than me. And I'd like to think that's where we're going, because I do think that people worry about control. They worry about, oh my goodness, what's going to happen to these agents? Are they all going to, gang up on me and then leave? Or whatever it might be. Are they going to do nefarious things? Well, I mean, if you've got nefarious things in your mind and you're talking to your AI about nefarious things, then guess what? You're going to have a nefarious AI. But I mean, if you're like me, unicorns, pink, glitter, sparkles, then, what is the AI going to be like? Well, it's going to be unicorn, glitter, sparkles, a bit of AI, a bit of, Taylor Swift or whatever I'm into. So I think we need to take personal responsibility for, coding up our own AI would be the way I would see the future.
I love that. You said so many great things within that. And one of the things that struck me, it was, as you said, the relationship with AI, right? People have to start getting used to this idea of their relationship with AI. And as it's built, a whole slew of things you say, the security and a lot of implications that are being thought through right now. It's all being developed right now, right? It's actually all occurring right now in real time. The interesting thought, as you speak of agents ganging up, foreseeable as well, right? Because as I've had these types of discussions, there are those that are saying that we're not that far away from, and I'll throw this to you or see how you'd answer similarly, a spot where there is sentient AI, right? So as you say, if you've given it of yourself, including of your soul, right? As you describe that, but it's learned and it's the spot where it is now sentient, right? So it's interacting, well, the same way an individual that you're interacting with may try to persuade you or even manipulate you. It's foreseeable that AI is going to be capable of doing the same thing in very short order. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very much, the discussion on the future of AI and how dark the future of AI can get, I think it's very much a reflection of how you see society. I don't think there is a binary right or wrong answer. I think, as in life, you get people that are half full and you get people who are kind of half empty. My personal view from actually being into the programming and prompt engineering of agents is that we are actually quite far away from a generalized intelligence that can itself, let's say, create a company like I'm trying to create. Okay, so I know that people talk about the fact that we are going to have AI that can come up with ideas, that can basically pull all the other agents together to create a business, to create a company, and there won't be anybody other than an autonomous, an AI within these companies. I personally think we're quite far away, because I think one of the things that we need to have is this idea of being able to look at multi-dimensional subjects and being able to bring all of those together in order to create something new. I just don't think AI is there at that point. I think what AI is really good at doing is following instruction. So, I want you to do, so you are this, I want you to do that. You will know when it's complete, when it looks like this. You will follow the following kind of quality criteria in order to understand whether you have completed the instruction to the quality that I want, or yes or no. And you will do this X amount of times. So AI is there doing that. But I don't think AI is sitting there and, well, I know AI is not sitting there going, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if I basically, you know, got the color pink, got a unicorn and was really into motor racing. And basically I was going to create, you know, a super speedy, you know, pink unicorn that farted glitter. Like, it's just not there yet. Now, will it in the future? I'm sure. But right now, it's not. It's not in a situation where it's doing anything other than what humans tell it to do.
I love that. I love how you describe it. It's not there yet, and we have to envision a future where that actually does exist. If somebody's listening to this and just creating their own AI company right now, what are some of the first principles for them to be launching, to be getting their business to up and running, and again creating some of this future that we're describing here today?
Yeah, so I think one of the first things is when you're in the AI world, or when you're slightly obsessed like I am about, learning about AI, you assume that everybody is actually using ChatGPT, and actually they're not. So the first thing that I would say is, if you're interested in AI, start using it on a daily basis, and then you'll suddenly find, like me, that you actually can't get through an hour without using, AI, let alone an entire working day. Then once you've started doing that, look at automation. Look at how easy it is to automate really rudimentary tasks in order to make your life so much more efficient. And once you've done that, you're kind of within the AI world. So it is very accessible for each individual person to really, really get a handle on what AI is and what AI isn't. But I think, somebody said something about the world of AI in terms of they're going to be those people that utilize AI and basically their lives are sort of magnitudinally better, and those people that just stick their heads in the sand and don't want to do anything with AI. And unfortunately, they will find themselves, not necessarily left behind, but they're not going to be able to have the advantages of what a more efficient kind of, I think, creative life looks like, because AI can take a lot of mundane tasks out of your life, and will do.
That's another nice way of putting it. And it's, as I say had before, oh yeah, there's your puppy coming along to say hi as well. Yeah, it is there. It is here now. People are using it to a certain degree. It would be wise to become educated in how it's currently being used, and think of just that, the future, right? What things look like in the future. So Julie, I really appreciate your time here today, taking us through some of that. I look forward to watching the launch. So please keep us in touch with that. If somebody's interested in connecting with you on obviously on Iridescent and what you're about to launch there, but anything else, what's the best way to reach you?
Honestly, I'm big on LinkedIn. I'm always chitter-chattering and jabbering on LinkedIn. So please do link me in, and tag me in. And I've also got like a little Calendly link for virtual coffee. I love meeting new people, finding out what people think about things, especially in the world of AI. So yeah, be very, very happy to. I'm also on the other socials, but where I'm most active is LinkedIn. So, TikTok, I love TikTok. So yeah, on TikTok as well, but just not quite as active as I am on LinkedIn.
Great. So we'll have all that in the show notes as well. Anybody's interested, please do look for that. And then Juliette, I love to end these shows with one thing that someone listening can take with them through the rest of the day, through the rest of the week after the show is dropped. Is there something that's worked for you as you're building this company, in life itself, that somebody listening may benefit from?
Yes, I think my kind of words of wisdom are sort of summed up by Dale Carnegie when he says, people are most successful when they're having fun at work. So I would say that, the one thing that, everyone should try to do is basically enjoy the ride. So that would be my takeaway. Courtesy of Dale Carnegie.
That's right. Wonderful. Yes, thanks to Dale Carnegie, but just wonderful advice as it is, right? Enjoy it along the way. Be happy, spread the joy. Thanks so much for spreading your joy here today. We look forward to the next time on The Millionaire's Lawyer.
It's a pleasure. Thank you, JP.